Hey guys, how's it going? It's El Platano Loco back with part 7 of our card review series. Today is the 25th, and they're actually going to do the card reveal stream very soon. So I kind of want to do a little bit of catch up on these cards because we still got a lot of cards to review. So this is going to be a 20 card review, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Our first card here is a 10 mana spell for Hunter, the Nagron Slam. It is a 10 mana spell, epic, that reads Summon 4/3/5 Cleft Hoofs that attack random enemies. So, first thought when I looked at this card is Control Hunter or some kind of spell based Hunter, because like a lot of the hunter spells, it actually summons minions and they attack immediately. So this is actually very interesting. And note that it is attack random enemies, not enemy minions. So this has a possibility of going face, and the order is random. So let's say your opponent only has one big thing on the board. This summons four of these 3/5 chargers. Three of them probably clear off the big guy. One of them goes face, and depending on the attack of that target, you might still have residual minions on board. So I think that Nagron Slam is going to be very interesting. It is highly costed at 10 mana, so it's going to be interesting to see how this fits in a meta that is probably going to be dominated by demon hunters, to say the least. I feel like we're going to have a lot of aggression until the meta shifts. So interesting card. Now whether this is going to work, I don't see it. At least not now. Maybe if there's like a couple of nerfs that hit and it slows down these aggressive decks, then it might see some play. But not Grand Slam, I do like the concept and the effect. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. Our next card here, Libram, which is the new card type for the Paladin class. And it's pretty much just a collection of spells and minions that work in conjunction to have some really crazy effects. And note that these spells actually get discounted by two of the cards that we're going to review in a bit here. But in short, Libram of Hope is a 9 mana spell, restores 8 health to any target, which could be, you could use it to heal face as well. And it summons a 8/8 Guardian with Taunt and Divine Shield. Libram of Hope seems very, very strong. It's already high power level at 9 mana, but when you discount this thing is when it gets pretty nuts. One of the cards we're going to see later, it's Aldor Minion, is a 4/5 for 5, and I think it reduces for 2 cost all your Librams in your deck in hand. So if you're able to get 2 reductions off of this and make it a 5 mana spell, this is already pretty insane. And anything less than that is downright busted. So we'll see how this works in conjunction, but I really like the package that Paladin has for the Libram card set here. And I'm going to give Libram of Hope a 4 out of 5. Aldor Attendant. So this is actually one of the supporting cards to the Libram card type. And this is a 2 mana, 2/3 minion for Paladin that reads Battlecry, reduce the cost of your Librams by 1 this game. So this is actually one of the supporting cards for the Libram of Hope here. Reduces the cost by 1 for all of your Libram cards this game. So really strong stats here. 2 for 2 mana, 2/3. Very defensive, very strong, and it also has that reduction effect. So I think that Elder Attendant is very strong and is going to be seen in any of the mid-range or control Paladins decks that run these Libram cards. So very strong card, very cool effect, and more support for the Libram cards. I'm going to give Elder Attendant a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Our next card here, this is the big boy, Aldor Truth Seeker. So similar to the Attendant, this is a minion that supports the Libram cards as well. And it is a 4/6 body on a 5 mana cost minion. Aldor Truth Seeker is a taunt minion with Battlecry that reads reduce the cost of your Librams by 2 this game. So there's a lot of things going on with this card. It is a 5 mana 4/6 taunt, which that's already pretty solid. And it has that Battlecry that reduces the cost of Librams by 2. So Outdoor Truth Seeker, very, very strong card. The fact that it has Taunt actually pushes Paladin to more so sustain until they're able to get those Libram cards off. So I really like the fact that this has Taunt. It makes this a much more viable card to play, especially against aggressive decks. So it'll get you there by blocking off that damage until you're able to hit your late game Librams. So Outdoor Truth Seeker, very strong card, very powerful effect, especially with these very high payoff cards in the Libram. So I'm going to give Outdoor Truth Seeker a 4 out of 5 stars. Libram of Wisdom, another Libram card. This is a 2 mana spell for the Paladin class that reads, give a minion +1/+1 and Death Rattle, add a Libram of Wisdom spell to your hand. So one of the interactions that we actually saw in one of the videos was that you have a bunch of silver recruits and you play the Libram of Wisdom for, let's say, 0 mana if you already have one of the reductions for 2 going off, and you equipped it to one of your 1/1s, trade in, equipped it again to another one of your 1/1s, trade in, and constantly trade in until you get the card back in your hand. So this is like an infinite loop unless the Libram of Wisdom targeted minion is silenced. But I think that this effect is very interesting, very strong, and gives Paladin another way to pretty much utilize their 1/1 tokens to their advantage to fight off more hefty aggressive minions at that 2 health stat line. So Libram of Wisdom, very interesting card, and the fact that you can run 2 of and discount and loop, I think this is going to be really strong in leveraging smaller minions. I'm going to give Libram of Wisdom a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Here we have another Libram card, Libram of Justice. So Libram of Justice is a 6 mana Paladin spell that reads, equip a 1/4 weapon and change the health of all enemy minions to 1. So I was thinking about this card, comparing it to Equality, but it's not like Equality, it's even better because this only changes your enemy's minions to 1 health instead of all minions to 1 health. This could be comboed with Wild Pyromancer. That's one of the possible combinations to work with Libram of Justice here, but I think that this is a very solid card. It's already pretty decent at 6, but if you're able to reduce this to 0, because if you run 2 of the Aldors and 1 of the Librarian, or 2 of the Librarians, you can reduce this by 6. So it will be a 0 mana Equality that only targets your opponent's minions, and it also gives you a 1/4 weapon as well, and that's busted. Even at 2/4 mana, it's already extremely powerful. At 6 is okay, but more than likely by the time you drop this, you already have 1 to 2 discounts in play. So Libram of Justice, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 stars. Our next card here is a Demon Hunter minion, the Priestess of Fury. Priestess of Fury is a 7 mana 6/7 demon that reads, at the end of your turn, deals 6 damage randomly split among all enemies. So this card's very strong, very, very strong. But what's new, right? Demon Hunter actually has so many strong cards that you could probably make a Highlander or one of decks with all the cards that they have and still be super, super busted. But Priestess of Fury does something the same turn that she's played, so I think that gives this a potential upside. But where this really gets interesting is when you play the Fell Screamer. The Fell Screamer reduces the cost by 2. So imagine playing 2 Fell Screamers leading up to Priestess of Fury for 3 mana, a 6/7 that deals 6 damage every turn at the end of the turn. I think that Priestess of Fury is very strong. It's going to be very good against aggressive decks, removing all those token minions by, shooting off all those pings. And this could also just do damage to the face. Think about Avenging Wrath is the closest card in comparison here. And that's, 6 mana to deal 8 damage. For 1 less mana, you're getting a 6/7 body and 2 less pings. So I think that this is going to be very, very powerful. It's going to be seen in the big demon hunter decks, and this is just strong, straight up. So I'm going to give Priestess of Fury a 5 out of 5 stars. Fell Summoner. Okay, so this card, I don't know. Fell Summoner is a 6 mana 8/3 minion that reads Death Rattle, summon a random demon from your hand. So, big demon, are you going to want to run this? I don't think so. I don't know where Fell Summoner fits. At 6, you know, if you kill this and you have big demons, let's say you have the 7/9 minion in your hand, it drops that down, right? Or you trade in, drop that, and at the end of the turn. It's a pretty decent amount of payoff. The stats, I think they purposely made this super high attack, low health, so it's easier to kind of like, you know, pick off something big and also like summon something, develop something. So I think this is actually middle of the road. I don't think it's as bad as some people are saying it is, giving it like 1 or 2 stars. I think the Fell Summoner is a 3-star minion and makes the possibility of big Demon Hunter reality. So I'm gonna give Fell Summoner a 3 out of 5. Ironbark. So Ironbark is a 2-mana druid spell here. Give a minion +1/+3 and taunt, and cost 0 if you have at least 7 mana crystals. Interesting card. Pretty decent buff. I don't think that you want to play this in a bigger druid deck or big druid deck because it's super low impact. Just +1/+3. I don't think that's going to be enough to kind of supplement those big druid decks. As far as token, it's okay. I mean, even for 0 mana, you're not like jumping out of your seat, right? Ironbark, I'm gonna give a 2 out of 5 stars. Okay, so Coil, Fang, Warlord. This card is very interesting. Another Demon Hunter card, and I feel like Demon Hunter has been getting the craziest flavored cards of this expansion so far. They like drip in with the sauce, man. So Coil, Fang, Warlord here is an 8-mana 9/5 minion that reads Rush. Death Rattle, summon a 5/9 Warlord with taunt. So the first half of the minion, you get it as a huge rush, a 9/5 rush, and in the second half you get it as a defensive minion. So I think that this card is actually really interesting. The fact that it plays both a super offensive role and then a super defensive role at the same time in one package is really strong. I think that some people are kind of underestimating this card. I think that it's the fact that it does have a second body that does something defensively and also serves as a hyper offensive removal tool for big minions is gonna give this card a lot of upside. I think Coil, Fang, Warlord is gonna be a card that you want to run in as the late game for your Demon Hunter decks, whether it's like aggression, mid range, or control. And I definitely see this being played. The only thing that kind of sucks is it doesn't have the demon tag. It would be crazy if you could use the Fell Screamer to drop this down to 4 mana after you use 2, but Coil, Fang, Warlord, especially in Arena, is going to be busted, but it might see some play in Standard. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 stars. So here we have another Druid spell. They seem to get a lot of those this expansion. Glowfly Swarm. So Glowfly Swarm is a 5-mana epic spell for Druid, and it reads summon a 2/2 Glowfly for each spell in your hand. So again, they're trying to kind of like push this spell token Druid archetype, but if we think about it, there's already the Treant Druid card, the 5, I can't think of it off the top of my head, that summons the 3/2/2 Treants and is 5 mana. This on a base level, you're usually gonna have, and if you're running this deck, you're usually gonna have anywhere from like 3 to 5 spells when you play this. So I think that this can actually see play. If you already hit that 3 mana, that 3 token breakpoint, you're already really happy. But anything more than that is super super big, because you think about something like the twin spell for Druid that summons 5/2/2 Treants, right, for 8 mana. That already saw play in Token Druid. I think that Glowfly Swarm is going to be really powerful. If you're going to run that spell-based Druid deck, you're definitely going to run this. Glowfly Swarm, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Here we have another Prime Minion. Here we have the Murgurgle, which is a 2-mana 2/1 Murloc minion with Divine Shield that reads Death Rattle, shuffle Murgurgle Prime into your deck. And the Prime version of that minion is also very strong as well. It's a 8 mana 6/3 with Divine Shield that reads Battlecry, summon 4 random Murlocs and give them Divine Shield. So this is actually a super value bomb. 8 mana, not the hardest to summon. Still like fairly reasonable as far as stat line. It has Divine Shield and also summons 4 Murlocs with Divine Shield. I think that this is going to be pretty powerful. It is a very late game value card, giving you that late value bomb that you need after you've probably tipped the scales twice and not running out of steam. I think that Murgo is going to be a centerpiece in that deck as well. So they're trying to keep that Murloc version of Paladin alive, and I'm glad that they gave them the Prime Minion that's centered around the Murlocs. I think that's very cool. I think that Murgo is definitely going to see play in a tip the scales Paladin deck because you want to pull that Minion out as soon as possible, and then you could, well, you probably want to keep the second tip the scales after you shuffle in the Minion into your deck because you don't want to pull this out because it's a Battlecry Minion. So very interested to see how this one shapes out, but I'm going to give Murgo a 4 out of 5 stars. Our next card here is Imprisoned Son Gil. Imprisoned Son Gil is a 1 mana 2/1 minion that reads dormant for 2 turns. When this awakens, summon 2/1/1 Murloc. So this card is interesting because it might not look strong on face value, but on turn 3, where usually you're playing down Cold Light Seer or you're playing down War Leader, you're able to leverage 3 Murlocs, right? So you could either buff all 3 of them by +2 each, or you could give them +2 attack, right? So I think Imprisoned Son Gil is very interesting, very interesting. And if you're able to play 2 of these on turn 1, and then let's say on turn 5, right? Oh no, on turn 3, right? You play 2 of these, and then on turn 3 it awakens. But the only thing, does it have? It probably is not able to attack, right? Immediately. No, because I think when after the dormant side kind of kicks off, then it's still sleeping. This is still strong, very strong, because then your opponent can't really interact with them and remove them, because as like on the other side of playing against a Murloc Paladin, you're going to constantly proactively remove, but this keeps them dormant and then summons them all at once, so you could target when you want to drop your buffs, when you want to use your War Leader effectively. So I think Imprisoned Son Gil is going to be an interesting card. I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Our next card here is Scrapyard Colossus. Scrapyard Colossus is a 10 mana 7/7 with Taunt that reads Death Rattle, summon a 7/7 Felcrack Colossus with Taunt. So essentially you're getting a 10 mana 7/7 with another 7/7 Taunt behind. So you're getting 14/14 collectively in stats. Very strong arena card. As far as like standard, I don't think this is going to be that strong. I think the one card that's going to be very prevalent in the meta, the more that I see these huge cards, is going to be Shield Breaker. I think that every aggressive deck is going to run Shield Breaker. But on the other hand, I feel like this is too heavy on the mana side for that slight upside of having kind of like the 2 7/7s, right? But definitely going to be a really strong arena card, but for standard, it's not going to cut it. I'm going to give Scrapyard Colossus a 2 out of 5 stars. Our next card here is Supreme Abyssal. Supreme Abyssal is a 8 mana 12/12 that reads Can't Attack Heroes. Can't attack heroes. So this is a demon minion. Very interesting because I think about the 6 mana 8/3 from Demon Hunter, right? That can summon this from the hand, but it can't attack heroes. But still, it's a 12/12 on board that can trade into other minions, get rid of huge taunts, that kind of stuff. I think that restriction, though, is very unfortunate that it has this, but I know why. Like, to have that many stats, you do have to have some kind of a drawback, right? The comparable card to this is Deathwing Mad Aspect that has the same stat line, by Battlecry attacks all other minions. So, Supreme Abyssal maybe could be cheated out in some kind of big Demon Hunter deck That's the only kind of like window where I see this in, or maybe in like a Warlock or something like that. But other than that, Supreme Abyssal, I'm going to give this also a 2 out of 5 stars. Our next card here is the Greyheart Sage. Greyheart Sage is a 3 mana 3/3 minions that reads Battlecry. If you control a stealth minion, draw 2 cards. Okay, so this works with the Prime Minion. Akuma, I believe is the name. Since it's permanently stealth, if you're able to keep that on board and drop Greyheart Sage, you draw 2 cards. It's already pretty decent at a 3 mana 3/3 stat line, so you're not really losing out on any stats with the potential upside. I think that this card is going to be interesting with only the Prime Minion as well as the secret package. Hopefully we get a card that can stealth other minions as well, or maybe a secret that stealths a minion when it's attacked or something, or targeted with a spell. So Greatheart Sage, if drawing 2 cards is very strong, but we need more stealth support. But for now, I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. But if we do get support for Rogue, for more stealth minions, besides the Prime, I'm going to give this a 4. So for now, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Our last card here is the Crimson Sigil Runner. This was actually released not too long ago. I think it was released some morning today. And this card is a 1 mana 2/1 minion for Demon Hunter that reads Outcast, draw a card. So already we see a very aggressive stat line in the 2/1, and the Outcast effect of drawing a card is very, very strong. I think that if you're playing a super aggressive Demon Hunter deck with super low cost minions and just cycle with that takes advantage of the Outcast effect, I think this is going to be very, very strong, especially you play this off the top or turn 1. Let's say this is on the leftmost or rightmost of your hand. You play this as a 2/1 and you draw a card. That's insane. Drawing a card itself is already 1 mana worth, and you're getting a 2 mana attached to that. So we'll see how the Outcast plays out. But Crimson Sigil Runner, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 stars. So that wraps it up for today. We're going to see what the card dump is going to be looking like. It should be like around anywhere from like 40 plus cards, I believe. So it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of hidden gems are going to be in that reveal. If you liked any of my comments on the cards or disagree with me, which is all right because everyone has their own opinion, make sure to leave your comments in the comment section below with your opinions on the cards and anything that I missed. Make sure to check out our Instagram channel at el.platano.loco, as well as us on Twitter and Twitch. Those will all be in the screen annotation to the right of me. We'll see you in the next one, all right? Thank you again. Peace.